Hi, welcome. I'm Susan Downs, and I'm in the Silicon Valley Health Institute, where we have monthly meetings to help people learn about how they can be proactive in their health.
First of all, Susan, thank you so much for hosting me here. Thank you for hosting me in the past in Voice of America. I would love to be there again. And I wanted to talk today about health issues. And I think I want to talk about a few things. First of all, our body, our health. Until these days, I bounce on a trampoline, and not a small one, a big one. And I bounce, I sit on it, stand on it, bounce on my knees. You probably saw it on one of my videos. And until today, I'm still bathing in the ocean. Today was the right day to bathe in the ocean, just in preparation to this wonderful meeting. I bathed in the ocean in San Francisco. Today, I saw some other people doing it because the temperature was higher than normal. But even then, the ocean is still cold. I just bathe in, catch a wave, and then go under the wave and get to shore. And I know that when I go to Israel, for example, I'll be in Israel in November. Most of the Israelis would not get into the water before July, when the water is about 90 degrees. Yeah, I get into the water even if it is 60 degrees. I don't have any problem with that. And that is something I was able to keep for life. And the important thing that we should really understand is to maintain our health. It means to always find out what is our limit and go a bit beyond our limit, not a lot beyond our limit, right? So for example, this is a big bowl for me. I have a bunch of balls in the school, but I just happen to have it upstairs. Some people are taller than me. So until today, I have no problem lying on the ball, stretching my neck. And the big thing about lying on the ball is that you stretch the chest forwards, while normally we slouch. You stretch the back this way, and it's forwards. Normally, this chest goes backwards in most people's situation, in sitting, in reading. And what I want to say is that our exercises are important, that they respond to our life demands, which means if life demands that you will bend, first of all, bend less. Second of all, think that your back and neck are expanding. And third, allow yourself to stretch. We have to recognize and to realize our limitations. For example, you won't see me jumping off the bus to the sidewalk. You'd see me more holding to the railing, as the bus is not as familiar to me as my own stairwell. And also, you don't always know the distance to the sidewalk. But I used to do it as a kid. That's perfect, you know. But even though I bounce on the trampoline, I'm very cautious with the bus that I would take. So I've learned from meeting so many people that many of the accidents that they have are in their own home. They go all of a sudden in the middle of the night to pick up something, they fall, or they hit an area they didn't expect to hit. And so we have to work hard to not have accidents. But at the same time, I want to tell you something. In my garage, there used to be a puddle that at first we weren't able to figure out what's the source of it. And then we learned that there were some a tennis ball stuck in my drainage pipe. And there were puddles. And I remember once falling in my early 50s from that puddle. And what fixed it very easily for me was a cold shower. Now, everybody will demand explanation. How come a cold shower fixes it? Because it took away the sense of stress. It took away the inflammation, and it brought more blood. And it's still a good remedy, but there is less. I mean, I had no trace of anything after that fall. But there is less of that as you reach your 60s. There's less of that as you go to your 70s. If I fall from I fell from a bike, I fell in a mountain as I was walking in the dark, trying to just feel my way. And that actually stays with you for a while, or stayed with me for a while. So the important thing for us is to know to avoid risky situation from our body as we grow old. It's good to do it at any time. I have one of my clients that a 13-year-old went over her with his bicycle. And the accident was so bad that she's losing her hip joints and had disturbance in her vision. That kind of accident, if it happened to me, probably all of that would not have happened to me, especially if it was many years ago. So being careful is important, but on the other hand, if a place is familiar, you do several things. You climb upstairs backwards if you have railing. You walk downstairs forwards, and if you are able to manage it without holding the rail, then you are helping your balance. So we're going to go very soon to exercises, but I want to talk about the two enemies that your back has. Just remember, enemies, I'm just using it. Number one is the chair that you sit on, right? The chair that you sit on. It's a true enemy to your back. And we all sit on chairs, especially me, since I do body work as I'm sitting on chairs. And more than that, when I fly, and I fly so much these days, for example, I'll fly in October to Spain and take the train after teaching 2 classes to Paris. And then, by the way, 2 classes, one of them is a class for the general public in Barcelona, but then a very nice little town not far from Saragossa, not far from Madrid, in a very nice setting. I will be teaching a class for practitioners of natural vision improvement and teach them how to work with people with low vision, people like myself that need to improve from what they see to where they can see. And people's potential is being stifled away quite a bit. We give them gadgets, we teach them to read Braille, but we don't teach them how to see better. And that's something that I do. And low vision is an unfamiliar territory for many practitioners. Just work to help you see better, which is good enough, and get rid of your glasses. So to maintain health, first of all, we should know our chair is our enemy. Our back is not built to sit on the chair for more than half an hour, basically. The muscles that help you to sit on the chair tire within half an hour. And so what I recommend to do is, first of all, every 2 hours to take a walk. You have no business sitting on a chair more than 2 hours. And that's what I encourage my students, my employees, to leave the computer, go somewhere for 5 minutes and come back. But then every 20 minutes, for no more than 20 seconds, you can stand up and you can grab your leg and pull it backwards and put the chest forwards. Everybody can see me, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And all of you do that. I'm waiting for all of you. Just grab your leg at the ankle if you can. Push the chest forwards and bring your leg backwards. You can create kind of an arch which is opposite than sitting. Okay, let's do exactly the same thing on the other side. We grab the leg, we bring the leg backwards, we bring the chest forwards, and we breathe deeply and slowly. Now that you can do 10 seconds each. So if every 20 minutes you would stand and stretch, and if you cannot grab the leg, just push the chest upwards and let the head fall backwards. So you can basically push the chest forwards and let the head fall backwards. And if that's the case, then your back is ready to work again. And it's interesting that in schools, it used to be that kids really felt bad sitting on those chairs. Now in many schools, they give them pillows on the floor, which is very good. So that's one thing that we need to do. And that's one enemy that we have, our chair. Our chair causes so many back pain. And you can go to the best specialists in the world, but eventually the rigidity that you create by sitting on a chair is tremendous. The connective tissue hardens around the muscles you always use. And your mobility starts to be stifled, and it affects your breathing, affects every part of your body. The second enemy that you have are your shoes. Shoes and cement are the worst things for the feet. And we don't have any choice because we live in a place that doesn't have that many dirt roads. In fact, thinking in a place I've developed is that we build up roads, but cement is very jarring. I'm so happy that we got a wonderful carpet in this room, and that's my room where I do most of my Zoom sessions. And it's so easy to walk on that carpet. This is one of the best balancing exercise you can have. And let's start and walk ourselves. Everybody, no shoes. And by the way, anytime you have any excuse, take your shoes off. I take them off when I come to work. I take them off when I come home. Whenever I can, I take my shoes off because it's a wonderful thing. And by the way, I felt such a big difference. Today I was running for about 4.5 miles on the sand. And then I was running on the way here before I caught the bus, by the way, to come early enough. I was running and walking on cement. The jarring effect of cement, it could be crystal clear once you walk on sand. Sand is so much better. People in all this neighborhood know the crazy guy that goes summer and winter with just a bathing suit, buries his flip-flops under the sand and runs to the cliff house and back. I've done it for dozens of years. But walking with your bare feet is so important. And this carpet that I have is fantastic because it is soft, it is nice, besides being very nice looking, but it's a nice thing. So let's all of us start with this exercise of walking heel to toe forwards, heel to toe, and toe to heel backwards, toe to heel backwards. And again, heel to toe forwards. Try to make sure, okay, now let's talk about no accidents. Make sure there's no furniture on your way. I have an empty room. Basically, we normally put here a massage table to do body work. We take it out for this workshop, but it's so good that basically it's an empty space, yeah? So heel to toe, and then toe to heel. Heel to toe, forwards, and toe to heel. And you want to feel that the knees are bending, that they are really alive. So they're bending a little bit when you move forwards and straightening when you move backwards. So it's toe to heel backwards, heel to toe with a bent knee in the front knee as you move forwards. This movement is so important, it can save your hip joint. Yeah? Saves your hip joint. So we can use all kinds of instruments. You don't have to go to a gym to do subtle movements that make a very big difference for your hips. But I just want to say again, shoes on cement are jarring. It creates tension in your ankles that leads to tension in the knees, tension in the hip joints, tension in the back. And we sit a lot, and that is a huge tension on our back. And that's why what we're doing now is so important. Now, I want you to really be careful with what you do because you could fall. I don't want you to fall, especially if you're basically my age. But basically, you tap your foot against the floor to focus on your foot. So we can say foot, foot, foot. Turn it all on. I want to hear all of you saying foot, foot, foot. Can you unmute everybody? Foot, foot,
Foot, foot,
Foot,
foot, foot, foot.
And now we move legs, motion around the chair. So if you have a chair, now those of you who don't have my range of motion could use this part of the chair, right? There's no reason for you to be a hero right now. You don't want to fall, you don't want an accident, but if you can do this, then do this. So tap here and say foot, 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 you focus on your foot, and then you pull your leg in rotating motion.
Foot, foot, foot,
Right.
foot.
Now the other foot, tap on the foot.
I do it.
Am I visible enough?
Mm-hmm.
With my leg, I mean. Yeah, foot, 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 and move your leg in rotating motion in both directions. And I want to show you something that I'm showing quite a bit. I really like it a lot. We have two kinds of bunker balls. I like this one the best because it's a little bit better. But if you don't have a bunker ball, you can hit your buttocks. And then as you move the leg in rotating motion around the chair, you can tap on your buttock. This is really good, to tap on the muscles like this is a fantastic thing. Yeah. Robbie, you can come here for a second. Let me tap on you a little bit. Feel how pleasant it is. How's it feel?
Feels great, like a massage.
It's a massage, basically. That's what it is. Yeah. A place where I love to tap, by the way, is my chest, because the thymus basically disappears from its function when we are 30 or 40. But even in my late 60s, early 70s, I can tap here and start to open much more lymph work, which really helps the tissue, the immune system. So let's again understand, this is a great exercise where you focus on the foot lifting the leg. Of course, the foot is not lifting the leg physically. It is the hip muscles that do it. But the fact that you focus on your foot helps you to relax your shoulders. Relax your shoulders. And not use your chest and not use too much of your abdominal muscles to do this kind of work. And that prevents so many problems. I mean, these days, if you reach your 60s and 70s, you didn't have hip replacement, you are an exception rather than the rule. It starts to be terrible. So we really need to loosen up our hips and prevent those problems. So far I wanted to talk about back problems. As you know, in my book, Awakening Your Power of Self-Healing, and in my book, Movement for Self-Healing, I addressed those two issues, the back and the rest of the system. You go step by step, and you work on your breathing and circulation. The best thing is actually to come to one of my longer classes, like the basic training in my work, and you can learn very well how to improve your body slowly but surely. So this is important. One other thing which is good, I love sometimes, I mean, not always, it's not always a panacea for all, but I love sometimes to sit on the ball rather than to sit on a chair. Every way that you sit, every ergonomic trick that you have has its limits. So the ball has its own limits. Eventually, it doesn't have enough support. But the fact that it's a different way for you to use your back is good. So taking your shoes off whenever you can, mobilizing your hips whenever you can, walking on bare feet, and if you can, on grass or sand, as long as it's safe environment, that you don't have glasses and things like this that can injure you. Those things are very, very good for your back. And I must tell you that I am today just a few months before my 70th birthday, and I'm going to get the ball out of this room. I'm a few months before my 70th birthday, and I didn't have one day of back pain. I hardly ever have any headache. I never take any pills to reduce pain, anything of that nature. Those things are totally preventable. And more than that, when somebody gets into a serious trouble, a trouble that can paralyze him or her, a trouble that can cause problems, if you're flexible, if you're mobile, the problem is much less restrictive than if you are loose and you can do things in a way that works for you. So to just summarize, be careful, be cautious, but don't restrict yourself too much. Go beyond your level of comfort. Do things which are a little bit hard. Walk a little bit longer, but also walk a bit differently. For example, when we walk backwards and then we walk sideways, that's a different walk than the walk we're used to. So do things you're not used to be doing. And I just want to repeat what I always say, that we have more than 600 muscles, and we use between 50 and 75 of them. But we have not learned to use the muscles we never use. We don't walk up the streets like this, but those are muscles that we use a lot to climb up trees with. Because of shoes and cement, we don't use so much our feet. I'll never forget that we had trips to the Carmel Mountains when I was a kid, and we were always the Jewish kids were always complaining about the shoes that are not good enough for the rocks. And then you had a bunch of when there was a break, kids from a Druze friendly Arab community coming to us with bare feet, and the rocks did not bother them even one bit. So this is what I'm saying. Adjust a little bit more cold than you like to. Don't freeze yourself when you don't feel your body is capable of it, because that's when you can be vulnerable and catch a cold. But don't be always comfortable. That's the thing. Be a little bit warmer temperature than you like to be. Be a little bit in colder temperature than you like to be. Be less comfortable, so then day-to-day life will be very comfortable. And do subtle movements. Subtle movements are just as good as vigorous movement. Okay, from here, I want to move to vision. One thing that people tell us always is that to protect our eyes, we need to wear sunglasses. I completely disagree with it. I mean, not completely, in that if you drive to a sunrise or if you drive to a sunset, well, it makes sense that you would wear your glasses because the sun is in your eyes. That is, if the visor is not enough. But I would prefer, if the sun bothers you, and I mean regular sun, that you would wear a hat with a visor. That is helpful because it's like it creates shades in front of you, but you can see the real light because our retina needs that light. Our retina thrives with that light. It's just that light is as important for the retina as oxygen. And I think that it's okay with me if you wear sunglasses from time to time for any purpose. What is not okay with me is that you wear it all the time. You weaken your pupils, you weaken your retina, especially the most important area of the retina, which is the macula, that sees the best and the strongest possible light. Without the sunlight, I would have never been able to improve my vision, which used to be 1% vision, and now it's around 70% vision. I drive, and I'm comfortable driving. I must say again, I work on my level of comfort. So I drive. I drive in with my car, city streets and highway and freeways. I prefer city streets for me, and I don't push myself unless I have to in a particular situation. So I'm very proud of the fact that I can drive when people didn't think I can cross the street without a seeing eye dog or a cane. But the important thing for me right now is to bring up the fact that we have to accept our potential. We completely give up the idea that we can see well. That's why glasses are being prescribed to us from a very young age. We're giving up the idea that we can see well, and the result of giving up that idea is that we adapt to the glasses and not to the good vision that we could possibly have. And I have a lens which is shattered after 5 cataract surgeries. 5 cataract surgeries. And that was when I was born. My 2 kids were not kids. My 2 children, they are not kids, they're adults now, were born with cataracts as well, but their surgeries were much better. And they were done in an age where the brain could develop vision. What do I mean by that? My brain was blocked for the first 4 years from being able to see. So then it developed the involuntary movement of the eyes called nystagmus. And I ended up not seeing as a result of it. So I want to show you how my lens looks like. Robbie, are you here? Yeah. Can you bring me my lenses, please? My eyes. There. Okay. All right. So the important thing is that my vision started to develop in spite of the damage to my lenses, but only at the age of 17. And I'm still developing it. So you have the 2 pictures here. This is a normal lens, just to show you all. And this is my lens after 5 cataract surgeries. And with that, I can drive, which is the amazement of most people. Robbie? Yeah. Okay. Can you put it in place, please? Thank you.
Put it what?
Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so I want to talk about things that bother the eyes these days. For example, what is hard on the eyes? And I would say computers. If you look at computers a lot, you don't look at a distance a lot. So let's start with the first eye exercise for today. And this is, I don't have that luxury this minute, but I looked at a beautiful ocean during my run for a long time. But look outside, look at whatever you can see. You may or may not have an ocean, but you can have sky and you can have horizons. So look there, don't pay attention to the computer and wave your hands to the side so your periphery works at the same time, because often we forget our periphery. So breathe deeply and slowly and look at a distance and move from area to area at a distance. Very, very important. Very important. So look at a distance and to describe it to you, you look at the horizon, at the sky, you look from area to area, you look at the horizons and you look closer and closer. And then if you have a strong eye, close your strong eye and do the same thing only with your weaker eye. And you can wave your hands from the 2 sides of the weaker eye and look at the distance. Look at the distance. I wish I didn't have curtains here for the purpose of the Zoom, but I imagine looking at a distance. And then look with both eyes. And then close both eyes as you look at the window. Again, we're all looking through the window or through a balcony. We're looking at distance. Close your eyes and remember the distance. Remember the sky. Remember the horizons. Remember the different houses that you look, or mountains that you look, or whatever you can see. And then open your eyes and wave your hands. So this is something that we should all do when we use a computer. That every 15 minutes, we should look at a distance. Otherwise, what we normally develop is cataracts. Cataracts, I was born with it, so it was biochemical reasons in my case, in that I have a big story about that. But in your case, normally, it means cataract developed out of poor use. And so it's very important for you to work with my book, Vision for Life. So again, the same book comes back, Awakening Your Power of Self-Healing is very good explanation on vision improvement and also Vision for Life. This book will guide you step by step. We talk about 10 steps for natural vision improvement, which I think is very, very important. The 10 steps for natural vision improvement is very important to me. And this is that those 10 steps have to do with relaxing the eyes, looking at details, expanding the periphery, looking at distance, adapting to the sun. We have a wonderful exercise of sun adaptation where we strengthen the pupils, strengthen the retina. You should really watch carefully the videos that I have on that topic. I wonder if I have yoga for your eyes here, or you can bring it to me. Yeah, you can bring it to me from the main office. Yoga for your eyes. Thank you, Ruby. That's a very famous, I mean, I was trying so hard to prevent unnecessary surgery with yoga for your eyes. And you should really look at how we do that. We have also classes online that you could do it, but we'll have one on June 19th that you can register for and work with us on those exercises. But one thing I could say, in sunning, I face the sun with the bridge of my nose or with my middle forehead, and I move the head all the way from side to side. So if it's hard to move it all the way to the side, I move the opposite shoulder forwards, right? And so this is yoga for your eyes. And we have the physical copies here, but if you want to download it from Sounds True, you can download the video, Yoga for Your Eyes. So that could be a good way for you to start and work on your vision and get it better. And the important thing for us to know, we need to, again, look at the distance, as I talked today, adjust to the sun, adjust to the sun, not escape the sun. Again, you can put a hat with a visor in order to make sure that you are shielded enough, but don't wear sunglasses that weaken your pupils, weaken the retina. You have a pigment in the retina itself, a whole layer, which is called the melanin, the same one that you have in the skin, that basically is your natural sunglasses. And if you wear sunglasses, then you risk very much the production of that melanin, and then you also risk what happens in your skin, in that you can have sunburn as a result of wearing sunglasses, believe it or not. So it is so important for us, for the purpose of our mood, for the purpose of our immune system, and for good vision, to adapt to the sun and not escape the sun. Very important. The other thing that's very important for us is to look at detail, small details, but with no effort. So that's what I teach, to look at details. My daughter didn't have a natural lens. And when she was 8, I got her to look at many petals. She was able to see 200 petals in less than a minute, 56 seconds or so, which was amazing. And she was moving from petal to petal to petal in her macula, and she was able to see it so well. So the important thing for me is to tell you that by adapting to nature, not escaping nature, adapting to nature, with some restrictions. I mean, I don't tell you adapt fully to the sun and the heat of summer in Death Valley, right? Nor am I telling you in Siberia or in Alberta, Canada even, to walk barefoot on the snow. Those are things which are extreme. But if you can adapt to a little bit more cold, a little bit more hot, that's an important thing. What makes me feeling young is the fact that I bathed right now in the ocean before this session, and that I warm up on my own. I mean, I did take a warm shower, but I have no problem warming up. So if you guard yourself too much, cold is too cold, hot is too hot, it's good to be in the heat outdoors and adapt to the heat to some extent, and to be in the cold and to adapt to the cold to some extent. And that stimulates your body. So if you're too comfortable, the body is not going to produce enough circulation. You have to be a little bit less comfortable. So in general, when we talk about vision, we want to work on looking at details, on expanding the periphery, on creating balance use between the two eyes, balance use within each eye, good coordination between the eyes and the brain, coordination between the body and the eyes, and we can improve our vision. Our average is fantastic. When I teach a 6-day class, normally I have about 90% success of people improving their vision. I mean, there is no guarantee here, but there's definite good hope that your vision can get better. And it is so important because if it does, your mood gets better. Everything in life gets better for you. So before I finish, I want us to all go and wash our hands because we're going to do the exercise of palming, and the hands have to be very, very clean. You know, today, people live to be more than 100 years, quite a few of them, actually. I know about this lady during the pandemic, a lady from Spain who was 113, and she had the Spanish flu, overcame it, and then she had COVID and overcame it, which was very, very interesting. The health of your body has to do with your history. Did you fall? Did you break a leg? For example, I had a person with muscular dystrophy that didn't get to the wheelchair just quickly, but he once broke his leg. Then it was hard for him to walk, and he was out of walking for a while. So being careful, being cautious, and at the same time, going beyond your level of comfort is important. So now let's work about palming. You rub your hands, and then you move your arms in rotating motion in both directions. So you stretch the arms nicely, you feel it even in your ribs. And then you point the hands like this, and you move your arms in rotating motion in both directions. And you rub. And I'm going to darken the room a bit. You can't darken it all the way. But if you can darken your room, it's the best. If you can sit in a dark room, we have here in the school a dark room. And I love to do all of my vision work, with the exception of glaucoma, which is sometimes it's not correct to put them in the dark, depends which kind. But basically, most eye issues, and especially my own, where I have a tendency for involuntary movement of the eye, nystagmus, being in a dark room is so helpful, even if it's in the middle of the day. So we rub the hands, we breathe deeply, and we put the hands, and this is why I'm sorry not to be there for you, but Robbie, come here for a second, and let me just demonstrate on him how I put my hands. So the way I put my hands on you is deep and gentle. It's not
No pressure.
no pressure, right? That's the point. So you close your eyes, please do not put pressure on the cheekbones. You don't really touch the eyes, but the eyes are getting energy from your hands. So we breathe deeply and slowly. And I love the palming stick because I don't lean forwards, don't go backwards the head. So you can put a few pillows on the table. Rub your hands again and put your hands around the eye orbits. And all of you breathe slowly and deeply. And feel that your abdomen and lower back are expanding when you breathe in and are shrinking when you breathe out. Visualize your head expands when you breathe in. So listen, the upper body, which is the abdomen, the waist, the lower back, you can feel them expanding when you breathe in and shrinking when you breathe out. The chest, the ribs, the upper back, you can sense them expanding. Even the throat, even your neck. But the head, you have to imagine. And you can imagine that oxygen is coming to your eyes as you breathe deeply and slowly. The arms, you have to imagine that they expand and shrinks. I love to visualize my knees expanding when I inhale and shrinking when I exhale. And then I feel my thighs, or imagine my thighs, expanding as I inhale and shrinking as I exhale. And my calves, and my feet. So we feel expansion and contraction. Expansion and contraction. And breathe in and we breathe out. I sometimes sat for hours upon hours and felt that the globe can go around, but just sensing my body expanding and shrinking, my eyes expanding and shrinking, gave me a sense of peace that nobody could give me. So breathe slowly and deeply, deeply and slowly. And you breathe. And by the way, you can listen to your favorite music when you do that. You can listen to an audible. I sometimes in my classes have people hear a nice story of recovery, which is always uplifting, which you can, read in my books or hear on audible. And you breathe deeply and slowly. Slowly and deeply. Okay, slowly take the hands off. I want to talk about neck release, which is a very interesting thing to talk about, and that is I want to show you a few ways to release your neck, which is so important because so many illnesses come because of stiff neck. Don't succumb to your stiff neck. I just worked today, a couple of days ago, with one of my favorite clients, and his stiff neck can cause him so many problems. If you have stiff neck, you can expect to have problems in the eyes, like glaucoma, not enough blood to the optic nerve, like strokes of the optic nerve, strokes of the eyes, macular edema, macular degeneration, all those problems with stiff neck, they can be resolved with a loose neck. So for example, move your head in rotating motion in both directions and have a sense of how it feels like. You can bring the head to one side, you can bring the head to the other side, you can bring the head back, you can bring the head forwards, and sense the stiffness of your neck. Move it in rotating motion. Now, one thing we can do to loosen up the neck is massage it. So you can kind of squeeze. So anyway, let's return to the neck. All of you close your eyes and visualize as if your head goes up towards the ceiling, and then feel the back of your neck. Feel the two little holes, which are just at the top of the neck, and the one big hole, which is on the top of the neck here. And breathe deeply and slowly. And I want you to feel it. So again, let's move the head and feel. How is my head when my ear goes to my shoulder? How is my head when my ear goes to the other shoulder? How is it back and how is it forwards?
Where's the kid?
So move your head in rotating motion and breathe deeply and slowly. Okay. Now, few things will help me loosen up my neck. One is I massage or I separate the scalp from the scalp. I separate the scalp from the scalp. So I separate the scalp from the scalp. And then you move your head in rotating motion in both directions. Okay? Now, we put our feet forwards. Everybody sees my feet? Move your feet. Is it apparent on the screen?
Yep.
Move your feet in rotating motion in both directions. So the heels are together and we move the feet. And Alexa, give us 2 minutes.
2 minutes, starting now.
So move your feet in rotating motion in both directions. And you think it's nothing for the first 30 seconds, but then if you move the feet all the way, go down to the side, all those muscles that we don't always use when our legs are inside shoes, right? All those muscles. And we breathe deeply and we breathe slowly. And move your feet in rotating motion without stopping moving. Don't stop. Just keep moving. So this is the kind of effort which takes you beyond your level of comfort, but in most cases, the body likes it when you finish. So you move all the way in both directions. And especially we feel it in the front of the legs and the shins, but you feel it everywhere, also in the calves if you go all the way down with your toes. Breathe deeply and breathe slowly. Alexa, stop. Okay, we did that. By the way, how does it feel to move your head right now? Do people feel some difference in being able to move a little bit looser neck? That's my question. So can I have an answer? Anybody has an answer to that?
Much better.
Much better, right? So
Yes.
working on the calves tells the brain there is support from the lower body up. because the body works as one unit. Every joint affects every other joint. Every muscles affect every other muscles. The way that we normally work on the body is so, we don't try to work enough with harmony. So in this method, we're doing that. Second thing is, again, massage the scalp, separate between the scalp and the skull, to loosen up the neck. Just for a little bit. Okay, separate the scalp from the skull. And then you can feel that the neck is looser. And then let's move the legs in rotating motion in both directions. I wish we had 2 or 3 minutes for it. So Alexa, give us 1 minute.
1 minute. Starting
So we
now.
move in rotating motion in both directions. And breathe deeply and slowly.
I used the time that we were doing the shin movement to do some extra scalp and whatever. And it helped take my mind off the pain in my shins.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So we move the feet in rotating motion. You see, we're not jumping rope. We're not lifting heavy weights. So I'm all for lifting weights to different capacities. Some only will do half a pound. Some will do 50 pounds. So it depends what you need and how it works for you. Alexa, stop. Okay. The next thing is tap right here on your belly and say center. Everybody, center. Tap right here on the navel and say center. Center, center,
Center.
center, center, center. Everybody, center, 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 center.
Enter.
Move your head in rotating motion. Do you feel the difference?
Yeah.
When we think a lot, our center is basically the throat. When we have a lot of emotion, the center is the chest. But when we are relaxed, the center is here. And I can tell you that every time that I go to the ocean, bathe, I feel more centered. So let's do another one. Center thigh. All of you, top, break the floor and say center thigh. Center thigh. Center thigh.
We want to hear you.
Center thigh. Center thigh.
Thigh.
Center thigh. Center thigh. Center. All of you stand.
Thigh.
For the seat. And again, center thigh. 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 Stand. And have a seat. So, for example, you know, the brain, the area which is called the proprioceptors, which is in this part of the brain, sees how every part affects every other part. So, for example, move your shoulders in rotating motion, both of them. Just have a sense of how much movement do you have, how smooth is it? Now, tap on the tip of the shoulder and say shoulder tip.
Shoulder tip.
Shoulder tip, shoulder tip, shoulder tip, shoulder tip,
Shoulder tip.
and now move the shoulder in rotating motion in both directions. And then move the arm in rotating motion in both directions. And now tap with your fingers either on the table or on a chair or on your thigh and say fingertips. 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 Everybody, fingertips, 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 fingertips. Now move the arm in rotating motion. You can feel, if you focus on the fingertips, how lighter it becomes. And then when you move the shoulder, how easy it is to move the shoulder. So we'll do the same thing on the other side. And you can feel the difference between the two sides. The side we move is much lighter, mobile. So now move the shoulder in rotating motion in both directions, the opposite shoulder. I started with the left, I'm going with the right. You can do it opposite, depends where you started. And now tap on the tip of the shoulder and say shoulder tip. Shoulder tip. Shoulder tip. Shoulder tip. When you think about as if you're stretching your shoulders outward, yeah, shoulder tip, shoulder tip, shoulder tip. So move the shoulder in rotating motion, okay? And then we move the arm in rotating motion. Move the arm in rotating motion. And we tap and we say fingertips.
Fingertips.
Fingertips. Fingertips. And we move the arm in rotating motion. So we stand up. And what we'll do is we'll bring the heels to the chair. We move them one by one and bring them to the chair. So what you're doing now, you're working on supporting the upper body with the lower body. Just like when we work on the feet, it supported our neck in our brain. Right now, we're supporting our shoulders with lifting the leg up on the chair. Again, make sure that it's not too much for you. If the chair is too high or something of that nature, go on a stool, but just let's move it for 10 more times. You see it? And how does it feel to move your head in rotating motion? And tell me, how does it feel to move your shoulders in rotating motion? Are they light? That's my question. So at this point, what I want to say is that our potential of improvement is huge. We need to learn not only vigorous exercises, but subtle exercises with which we can work. And in that, and I'm sorry for the interruption that happened before, I'm opening the platform for questions and answers.
Please raise your hands, and Meir will address your questions in the order receive them. So please raise your hands. We've got this golden opportunity where Meir's going to address our particular prompt. Well, I've got one. I've got sciatica. So the exercises you suggested, would they be good? Because it's my whole leg is turned numb.
Let me show you one of the nice things that you can do with sciatica. We lie on the side. So let me lie here on the side. I need maybe a pillow. You could give me one of the things there, roll yoga mat. Yeah. Okay, so you can have a pillow, or in this case, a yoga mat, and you lie like this. So, for example, I never had sciatic pain, but all of my clients. Okay, so let's put it this way. Does everybody see my legs?
Yes, they should.
Yes.
All right. So I'm lying this way to the side. And normally when you lie this way, the pain decreases because you don't have so much pressure on the sciatic notch and the sciatic nerve. And then you can take a bunga ball and tap, because sciatica can go, sciatic nerve is motor and sensory. The sciatic pain can go all the way down. So tapping here, that's where bunga ball is such a good thing. You can do it with your hand. Also, it's good to put hold on the area of the lower back. So anything cold you can put, especially a cold towel, but it could be any form of cold that can take away the inflammation that the sciatic leads to. I mean, sciatic pain could be so miserable. I've worked with so many clients that have it, but I was able to reduce it, and then I was able to eliminate it. As I said, I never experienced it, and I'm happy to not have experienced it because I know the pain of my clients. So this is not a small thing. So lying on the side takes away the pressure on the nerve. And again, it shows you how important this work is, because if you strengthen your calves, then you loosen up the hips, and you have much less pressure on the nerve. Okay.
Next question is for Hong.
She needs to ask. Susan.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, doctor. Good morning, Susan.
Good morning.
Okay, my question is regarding I have retinitis pigmentosa. I know there is no medical cure for it. Do you have any exercises?
Let me ask you a question, Farham. How well
Sure.
do you see? How well do you see right now?
Very little. Maybe 0.01%.
So what can you see? Light and shadow? What can you see?
I can see light, but I cannot recognize people if they are standing in front of me also, like 1 foot away from me. I cannot see.
Is there a difference between your eyes?
Pardon?
Is there a
Yes,
difference between your eyes?
sure, sure. My left eye doesn't see anything. It's all totally blind. My right eye sees well. I had both my eyes had cataract surgeries, one in 1990 and one later on in 1995. Both my eyes were just perfect. I could see very good vision. I had very good vision after the cataract surgeries, but then it deteriorated very badly.
And quickly or not?
Pardon?
Did they deteriorate quickly or they didn't deteriorate
No,
quickly?
no, they deteriorate very slowly. It's been getting worse over the last 2 or 3 years, you can say. Yeah, and in the last 1 year, it really collapsed. It really went very fast down.
So it's hard for me to know how much I can help you. I wish I
Uh-huh.
met you. I wish I met you a month or two after your cataract surgeries, so you would still see okay. But
Uh-huh.
it's worth your while to try some eye exercises and examine if those exercises will help you. The best case I can tell you is with a wonderful, beautiful lady from Austria that I worked with in the past. And she had a
Uh-huh.
dog and she had a cane.
I have
And
a cane, yeah.
yeah, she had a dog, she had a cane. And
Uh-huh.
then we worked, she came to San Francisco and we walked up and down a mountain, Mount Tamalpaya. And she could
Uh-huh.
see shade, she could see sun. I helped her because she only had a hole from where she could see. I helped her
Uh-huh.
to look through that hole and see, and she could start and see vegetables and could see yogurt and see all kinds of things on shelves and
Good.
answer questions with a felt pen. So we were able to improve her vision significantly for a while.
That's wonderful.
And I have no idea if the practice would make the same difference to you, but it's worth trying.
But did that lady have retinitis pigmentosa or macular
Yeah.
degeneration?
She had retinitis pigmentosa, and
Uh-huh.
she saw when she was 10, but I met her when she was 18, and she thought she's blind, but we discovered that she has some vision.
Oh, okay, all right.
Okay, thanks.
So let's me see if I can meet you in San Francisco because I don't live too far from San Francisco.
Come here and let's have a couple of sessions and see if I can make a difference for you.
Sure, sure. Thank you, doctor. Thank you very much. And I want Susan to put me on the mailing list as well as send me the copy of your recording. I will send her an email soon.
Yeah, you could do that or put it in the chat. Both would be the safest. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan.
Okay, Janice, can you unmute yourself?
Can you write our phone number on the chat?
Until she can unmute herself, there are questions about how to heal cataracts, exercise, diet, vitamins. Also, one person said that cataracts he heard was caused by the sun also creates small protein creations in the causing cataracts. So until Janice unmutes, we can address that question.
Well, first of all, cataract is caused not by the sun, in my opinion, even though that's what the medical profession says. It's caused by our lifestyle, by looking so much from near. So my suggestion is every day for 20 minutes to look at a distance. Unless you already have beginning of cataracts, then Can you turn on the lights here?
Mhm.
Unless you have a beginning of cataracts, then you and this lights, yeah?
Yeah.
Then you would look at a distance for 40 minutes a day. The problem is that we have a lens which is stiff. So many people, when they are 40, start to be presbyopic and not see well from near. And the solution, which is glasses, quickly causes a situation where the eye stops being flexible. One of the things I like so much to do when I walk with my partner and we look at sunset and we look at the ocean, it's one of the nicest things. Even on my own, I go and I look at the ocean and there's a sense of opening from looking at a distance. When you look at a distance, the lens is flat. When you look from near, it's round. Let me show you the difference. All of you look out of your windows. Look at the distance. Then put your hand on your nose, and you can see the lines on your hands. And look, I mean, really on your nose. Then look again at the distance. And look again at your hand. And you can see that in most cases, there's a tremendous amount of effort in the lens because the lens muscles constrict from near and relax from far. So cataract is a result of the use of the lens and not a result of the sun, which is what the doctors believe in. And adaptation to the sun helps the cataract quite a bit. So if it's a beginning of the cataract level 1 and 2, we can make a huge difference. We can prevent it from becoming 3 and 4. If it's already 3 and 4, especially if it's high 3, I really recommend that you find a good surgeon unless there could be major complications and remove the lens. I think we can save ourselves from the cataract surgery with our work. Okay.
My left eye, Janice says, my left eye seems to be okay, although not in alignment with the right eye. The right eye has cataracts.
Well, the question is, how well does the right eye sees? If the right eye is nearly blind from the cataract, it's one thing. If the right eye sees just a bit less, then we have wonderful exercise to get them to look together. If it sees very badly, it's a good idea to do the cataract surgery so both of them will look together rather than putting a load on the stronger eye. So I really need you to know your situation a bit better.
Okay. Next question is Paula. She said, I had EKG yesterday. Doc concerned I may have clogged artery. Reverse T. I think he saw on the EKG. Do you have advice for reversing without a medical procedure? Or can you refer me to a cardiologist who would address this naturally? Thanks.
I believe it's possible to do it without a medical procedure. I think that Dean Ornish, he's a cardiologist in Marin County who thought about that. I know that some cardiologists work with the force of nature. You still have to be sure that it's not too clogged that can cause you a heart attack or problems. But in general, this is so important for me. Cutting down in fat, eating long before we go to sleep. For example, eating 2 or 3 hours before we sleep, not first thing when we wake up in the morning. Working on breathing, as my book, Awakening Your Power of Self-Healing is suggesting. All those can make a very big difference and can slowly take away the clogged artery and help the blood flow better.
Next question is from Kurt. Kurt says, a man of 18 failed the driver's license. He could not recognize colors. Diagnosis. He has a low and weak optic nerve. What exercises can he do?
Well, it's very interesting. I help many people to get their driver's license. And so we started right now with palming. There are many, many more exercises. Again, work with my book, Vision for Life. Get him to visit my workshop, which is going to be June 19th for the whole day. It's going to make a very big difference. and have him do repeating exercises. Meeting me individually is the best thing. And I cannot tell you how many people I was helping to get a driver's license after they failed. In terms of helping the optic nerve, you can build it up, definitely. I worked with quite a few people with optic nerve deficiency, and we were able to improve it. Okay?
Sweet. Erica Saxon says, how can you lower eye pressure?
Well, first of all, remember we worked a lot on neck release. If the neck is tight, it affects very much the eye pressure. So there are quite a few exercises we can do to loosen up the neck. For example, we have done some already today, but a real good one is to sit on the floor. You can maybe take the chair away from.
Yeah.
Okay. And move your whole body in rotating motion. Yes, you move your whole body in rotating motion. You move to one side in both directions. You move to the other side in both directions. And then what you do is you move the head, the forehead from side to side, and you move the head in rotating motion on the floor. And so I think those things are very, very important. So I think those things are very important in loosening up the neck.
Janice has another question. She says, how far should the computer screen be from our face and how to protect ourselves from blue light if the computer or cell phone?
Well, I mean, you want to make sure you don't strain to see the letters, okay, in the computer. So maybe you need to enlarge the letters a little bit and sit in a distance that makes sense to you. But the main thing is to take breaks, to look at a distance. That's the most important thing when it comes to the computer. I heard about those blue glasses that can protect you from blue light, but the most important thing is to blink a lot and look a lot at a distance. Okay? So, go ahead, one more question and we will finish.
Okay, there's two more questions actually. The other one's short, but this one is longer. It says, I don't understand one thing. How is it possible that parents who were deaf had a child with a visual defect, just a different type of disability? Did any of your ancestors in the family have cataracts? How is it possible that a person is born with a visual defect?
The deafness of my parents had nothing to do with my visual defect. That doesn't connect at all. They happen to have been deaf. And the reason that I think I got a cataract is that my father sold, he was a photographer, a deaf Jewish photographer. He sold pictures of the Trinity to Christian churches. And in the time of Stalin, it was not allowed because they had a certain quota, and he could have gone to Siberia for that. So he had a lab at home, and the lab had chemicals, and the chemicals nearly killed me. So they said, my grandmother said she took me to many different doctors because my mother is deaf. And that one doctor said in the last minute that I could easily die. He gave me some injection. But then it was discovered by my grandfather from my father's side that I wasn't looking and I had cataract. So my cataracts, I think, came from that. I don't know for sure, but my two kids have cataracts. So I was born with it. And so if you have any doubt about it, you can come and check my eyes. If you have a ophthalmoscope, I'll show you. Okay, what's the next one?
There's one last question. Which exercise can be suitable when you have glasses for distant vision and you start having difficulty seeing up close?
So basically you have the two problems, not seeing well from far and not seeing well from near. And those are well addressed in my book, Vision for Life. Those will be well addressed in on June 19. But one thing that we do a lot is, for example, when we do reading, let me see, I have the reading page here. I don't know where it is. Can you help me find
Yeah.
large and small prints? Yeah. Here. Here it is. Good. Thank you. So, for example, we have this reading page, right? We're talking about here right now. And often what we do is we let me see. So often what we do, I want to take the small paper. Okay. Often what we do is that I put a small piece of paper in front of my strong eye, and I read with my weaker eye. And I'm doing it in the sun. I wave my hand to the side, and the more I'm able to discern letters with my weaker eye, the easier it is to see with both eyes. So I just want to summarize. We have a huge ability to improve ourselves. We have a huge ability to improve our vision, our body. Remember, we have 600 muscles in the body. We use 50 out of them. Many people that I met in my life, in spite of great deficits, were able to build up real good functional vision in terms of eyes. But for the body, in spite of many problems with the body, we were able to improve the body quite a bit. And I would like to thank you for coming, to thank Susan and the Living Smart people, who are also the Silicon Valley Health Institute, for hosting this.